here is our final TCAP review. Woohoo! We're almost done with it. So, we're finding the area of the shaded region, or the red section, or whatever you want to call it. And we have a square. Now, I know it doesn't look like a square on your computer screen. It has to do with the proportions of my screen, but we'll get over it. On your paper, it would be a square. And we have 4 circles inside the square. Each circle touches the edge barely and touches, or well, it's called tangent. So the circle is tangent to the square, and they're tangent to each other. Excuse me, which means they just touch in one place. And we're to find the area of the shaded region. So let's do this. So to find the area of a circle, the area of a circle is pi r squared. So the radius is 5. So area is equal to 5 squared pi. So the area is equal to 25 pi. And I have 4 circles. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a 2. So I'm going to multiply this by 4. So I have 100 pi taken up by the circles. Well, how does this help me? Well, the area of the shaded region is going to be equal to the square minus 4 times the little circles, right? So right now I know I have 314 units taken up in the circles, because pi times 100 is 314. So for the square, now this one's marginally trickier, marginally more tricky, because you have your diameter here, which is 10, right? Then we have another diameter of 10 here, so this distance from here to here is 20. So our square is 20 by 20, so that has an area, 20 times 20, which is 400. So you subtract the 2, and you should get 86. And that would be 86 inches squared. Next, Lloyd. Whenever I hear the name Lloyd, it really cracks me up, because one of my absolute favorite movies of all time is Dumb and Dumber, and Lloyd is one of the. He's either dumb or dumber. It doesn't really matter. Anyways, that will be the answer to a quiz later. Lloyd is standing near a telephone pole, as shown in the figure below. Lloyd is 6 feet tall, so I'm going to draw Lloyd. Here's Lloyd. He's 6 feet tall. How tall? And he's 2 feet away from where it meets. Okay. Oh, so I noticed this is 2 times 3. So the height is 3 times the base, right? All right. Now I have my long triangle. This is 8.5. This is, I don't know. Well, if this is just side length ratio, just says we should multiply by 3, so I'm just going to multiply this by 3. So 8.5 times 3 is... My lovely assistant is taking her time. She got a completely different answer. It's okay. So 3 times 5 is 15. You carry the 1. 3 times 8 is 24. 24 plus 1 is 25. There's 1 decimal place here, so there's 1 decimal place here. So it should be 25.5 feet tall. Okay. Got confirmation on that one. Okay. All right. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally problems. Who does not love Aunt Sally? She always is an embarrassment, so you're constantly asking her to excuse herself. Of course, if it was my children thinking about excusing themselves, it would be... Oh, I won't even go there. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we're going to have to do the parentheses first. So there are things I can do inside the parentheses. So 4 minus 5 is negative 1. So I have negative 1 here. I have 6. I rewrite everything. Negative 18 plus 3 is going to be negative 15, and that's going to be squared, and that equals, I don't know, we'll figure that out. So I've done that. So now it's on to my exponents. So I only have one exponent. I have negative 15 squared. Now the squared means negative 15 times negative 15. Negative 15 times negative 15 is positive 225. And I rewrite everything else. So I have 6 times negative 1 minus 10 times 200. or 225. So now I have done that. So now I'm on to multiply. And notice how I'm doing the checklist? There's nothing wrong with writing it out. It's much better to have this silly little elementary checklist and get the right answer than it is not to have the stupid checklist and getting the answer wrong. So negative 10 times 250 is negative 2,250. And I rewrite, oh well, 6 times negative 1 is just negative 6, right? So then I have negative 6, and I'm going backwards 2,250 more for a grand total of negative 2,256. Okay, I got confirmation on that one. Next problem, division. So I am going to move this up so I have some room. So when I divide fractions, I have to flip and multiply. So I flip the second one, so I have 2/3, that's a 3, times 21 over 8. Now, I'm going to cross reduce. So what goes into 3 and 21? Duh, 3. So now I have that. What goes into 2 and 8? Well, 2 does, right? And so that's going to be 4, because 2 goes into 8 4 times. So I get 7/4. Now, if I had to turn this into a decimal, well, 4 goes into 7 once, and I have 3/4 left over, so that's 1.75. It's a lot easier for me to have the 1.75 as opposed to the improper fraction on Edmodo. Now, on this one, I have an addition problem. To add, you must have a common denominator, but I noticed that 2 over 6, well, 2 over 6 is just another fancy way of saying 1/3. So I have 1/3 plus 4 9ths. What is the least common denominator for thirds and ninths? You'd be right if you said ninths. So I'm going to multiply this by 3. What I do to the numerator, I have to do the denominator. So I have 3 9ths plus 4 9ths is equal to 7 9ths. Now here's the tricky thing. The answer said put 2 decimal places and notes that it is repeating. 7 9ths is equal to 0.77 repeating. The way the answer blank was written, and you have to pay attention to the directions, folks. The directions had the blank, and it said repeat. Repeating. So, and it just asked for 2 decimal places, so you should have put this into the box. Moving on. Oh my goodness, it's the stupid wood stack again. This is like the 3rd time I've had to do this, right? But the numbers are different. So the first thing I would always suggest in a geometry problem is to draw it. Who doesn't love drawing? So I've drawn it. Here's my 6, here's my 4, here's my 3. And what is my surface area? Well, the surface area is nothing more than the sum of all of my surfaces, right? So 6 times 4 is 24, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 6 is 18. And now on this back side, I got another 24. On this face here, oh, I need to keep that in the box. Danger. Is 12. And so let's add them all together, right? So I have 24 plus 24 plus 12 plus 12 and plus 18, because you know what? We are not going to move that wood pile to put a bottom on it, right? So, and we know this because it says right here, he will cover the top and all 4 sides. Read the stinking directions. All right, so here we go. So 8 plus 2, so there's 110. Then I have 4 plus 4, which is 8, plus 2, which is another 10. So I have a 0 over here. So 2 plus 2 is 4, plus another 2 is 6, 7, 8, 9. So I will have to cover 90 square feet. By this point, I really hope everyone got that right, because we're like pounding it. All right, what are the dimensions of the smallest rectangle? So I'm going to draw my thing again, because a moment without drawing is a moment wasted. So if I were to make a flat pattern, I would have my top. And so this is, say it's 6 by 3. Then I'm going to have this side here, which is going to be 4 by 3. I have this side here, which is 4 by 3. I have this side here, which is 6 by 4. And this side here, so here's another 4. So now I just have to add these together. So the distance from here to here is going to be 14. The distance from here to here is going to be 11. So now it definitely said the width is shorter. So the width has to be 11, and the length has to be 14. Again, if you didn't read the directions and you switched them, I don't feel bad for you. C, Carl added more logs to the stack, increasing the length. Sounds like another time for drawing. I realize I'm dangerously close to going out of the box. All right, so it says that the length increased by 2 feet. So now we have 8. And increase the height by 3 feet, so that's 7 feet. This is still 3 feet. I know my drawing isn't to scale, we'll survive. And so now we need to know our increase. So 8 times 7 is 56. 3 times 7 is 21. 8 times 3 is 24. And then we have this side here, which is another 56. Okay, this is another 21. So we have 56 plus 56. Now together, that is going to be 112, right? I'm going to go off this 112. I have 21 plus 21, which is a grand total of 42. And then I have 24. And I will add them together. 2 plus 4 is a grand total of 8. 1 plus 4 plus 2 is going to be 7. And 1 plus 0 is 1. Now, you might be tempted to put that in the answer blank, but don't do it, because it wants the increase. Again, read the directions. So we have 178. Our original was 90, and I got that from part A, you may remember. And so let's subtract, so I get 8, borrow, so 9 goes into 17 8 times, so I should have 88 square feet. My assistant agrees. Moving on. Excuse me. Oh, the circle graph. And I don't have to measure anything because somebody very kindly put the measurements there already. Okay, so here we go. So we need to figure out the percentage of the circle that these sections represent. So we know the entire circle, the degree measurement of the entire circle is 360. So we're going to do 72 over 360. Well, what goes into 72 and 360? Well, I think 9 does, right? So 9 goes into 72 8 times. 9 goes into 36 4 times, 40 times, because there's a 0 here. Oh, guess what? 8 goes into 40, right? 8 goes into 40 5 times, so it's 1/5. Now I know that 1/5 is equal to 20%. So I can put that in right here. As for the 60, well, it's the same thing. So 60 over 360, same deal. What goes into 60 and 360? Well, it's going to be willing to bet anytime. All right, so that's going to work out. So 10 goes into both of them. Well, 6 goes into both of these, right? So it's just 1/6 and 1/6. You'll remember 1/6 is equal to 17, well, roughly 17%. It's actually 16.6 repeating percent, but it says in the problem to round to the nearest whole percent, and if you don't do that, it is your fault. So this is 17%, and so we have 20% plus 17% for a grand total of 37%. Percentages typically are out of 100, so I just have to subtract. And so I know, well, okay, so I borrow. So there's a 9, there's a 10, so we have 3 and 6. So this should be 63%. All right, so then it says the publisher sold 350,000 books last year. How many books were sold to bookstores? In space, blah, 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 blah. So this is a very simple problem. We have 350,000 books, and we're going to multiply this times 0.17. All right, so Obviously, 7 times 0 is 0, 0, 0, 0. 7 times 5 is 35, so we have the 5, we carry the 3. 7 times 3 is 21, 21 plus 3 is 24. All right, so now I put the placeholder for the 0 here. If you like to do this, that's fine too. And 1 times 350,000 is going to be 350,000. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Here's the 5. Here's the 3. And now it is time to add. Now, I've obviously not planned well, so I'm going to scoot this over here. So we have 20, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0. Just to make life easier, I'm going to put that comma here. Now, I'm going to deal with the decimal later. Just hold your horses there. So you have 3, 5, 0, 0. My mother used to say, hold your horses, and it drives me crazy. Now I just said it. How do you think that makes me feel? All right, so 0 plus 0 is 0, 0, 0, 0. 5 plus 0 is 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. 2 plus 3 is 5. Now I have 2 decimal places above the bar. That means I have 2 decimal places below the bar. So now I can put my comma here. So we have 59,500 books. All right, and I've got confirmation, so we're doing good. I'm gonna keep going because this is the most fun I've had since like 3 minutes ago. All right, John needs to read a 535-page book for class. The word count averages 420 words per page. He can read about 1,919 words per minute. He plans to read the book for at most 4 hours a day. That's a lot. That would kill me. Estimate how. Do they have this book on tape by any chance? That's not probably. Estimate. Now this is the trick. Estimate. And this is why I can't have a whole, an exact answer on my thing. So we're going to estimate how many days it'll take John to read the book. So I'm going to say this. So the book is. I'm going to say it's 550 pages. I'm going to say that the book, the word count is 200 or 420 words. Actually, you know, I'm going to make it easier. I'm just going to say it's 400 words because it says estimate, right? I can say he reads, so that's words per page. And I'm going to say that he reads roughly, 120 words per minute. Okay, so those are my estimates, and that's what I'm going to go with. Oh my goodness, where did that come from? Get that out of there. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to first figure out how many words there are in the book, right? So I'm going to have to do 550 times 400, right? And so when you do 550 times 400, you are going to get a lot of words. But you can't write a lot of words. You have to actually give us a number. So we're going to have 2, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0. So that's 220,000 words in this book, give or take a couple hundred words. So then I need to figure out how many minutes is this going to take. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to have to take my 220,000. I'm going to divide that by 120. So when I divide that by 120, I'm going to get, it's going to take him approximately 1,833 minutes. And remember, I'm estimating, so I know the 3 goes on forever, but we're estimating, so I'm just rounding that. Now, that's kind of an ugly number, right? So I'm just going to estimate this to be 18,000 minutes to read the book. So he is going to read 4 hours a day. Well, I have how many minutes it's going to take for him to read the book. So if we have 4 hours times 60 minutes, so that's going to be 240 minutes of reading per day. So I'm going to have to divide 18,000 minutes by is how many minutes he has of reading a day. And that's going to take him about 7½ days. John estimates that he will require 6 no, John is fooling himself here. He is not going, this is not reasonable, I would say, because this is an extra day. That's 6 hours of reading. So I'd say he is on another planet because he will still have roughly 6 more hours of reading. So what would end up happening is he would end up calling in sick so he could finish before the assignment is due. All right. Excellent work. Are we done yet? No. Find x. Find x. All right. So the first thing here is I noticed that if I use side length ratios, 8 times 3 is 24. But what times 3 is 8? Well, that is going to be some heinous decimal. I don't want to figure that one out. And I don't need to because I have the side length ratio. 8 times 3 is 24. So this times 3 will get x. So x equals 9. So let's try that again. I don't really want to do that because that gives me 1½ That's yucky. But I notice this is times 7, right? So this times 7 will get me my answer. So x is equal to 21. That was easy. Should go get my that was easy button. Now I think I'm on the last page. I'm really hoping I'm on the last page. So find the equation. So I know that y is equal to mx plus b, where m is slope and b is y-intercept. So let's find the slope. Slope is another way, or fancy way of saying slope is rise over run. So my rise here is a grand total of 5, because I'm going bigger, because -1 is actually bigger than -6. My run is 2. Sweet. So I know my equation would be y equals 5 over 2. Now, for those people on Edmodo, that's obviously going to be 2.5x, right? And now I need to find my b. And I know it's going to be a negative because it's going to be negative. So what goes in the box is going to have to be a negative. Excuse me. And so if I go back 2 more, so that'll be 3. It's going to be 5, right? So that's -11. So if I go to 1, so that's 2 more. That's going to be another 5, right? So that's going to get me to -16.5, right? So then I need to find where this is 0, right? So each time I'm going back by, it's not 16.5, goofball. That's going to be 16, just 16. Sorry. Now my slope is 2.5, right? So going backwards, I'm going to go back 2.5. So this is going to be -18.5. So in your blank, it should have said -18.5. Simple. Finally, for my last piece of mathematics, I'm finding this equation. So first things first, here's my y-intercept, where the graph crosses the y-axis. So I can safely say that y equals mx plus b. So y is equal to mx plus 1, 2. And then I need to find my slope. So I'm going to make a little slope thingamajig here. Now, if there's a scale, you're going to have to look at the scale. But there's no scale here, so each box is worth 1. So I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4. Going over 1, 2. So here's my rise, because I'm going up or down. Here's my run. Now my rise is 4 because I'm going up. If I was going down, my rise would be negative 4. But I'm going up. So my slope is equal to 4 over 2, which is just 2. So y is equal to 2x plus 2. And that is my answer. I'm sticking to it. Now if I go to the next page, there is no next page. So there is your quest explained. I hope that was helpful, and good luck tomorrow on TCAP.